Now, reports from Russia suggest that Gazprom has set up its own private army and is sending recruits to fight in Ukraine. The state oil firm has long employed people with military backgrounds to guard its assets around the world, but industry observers claim an armed unit employed by Gazprom is now active on the front line. That appears to be confirmed by the head of Russia's paramilitary Wagner group, Yevgeny Prigozhin, in an interview as well. Well, let's discuss this further with energy analyst Mikhail Krutikhin from RusEnergy. Thanks a lot for joining us on DW Business. Mikhail, is it really conceivable that Gazprom is sending people to the front line in Ukraine to fight?
Yes, this is the situation. In February, the Russian Prime Minister, Mr. Mishustin, ordered two companies of the Gazprom group, Gazprom itself and its oil arm, Gazprom Neft, to form something which is called volunteer battalions, out of the people who are serving in the paramilitary forces of Gazprom and Gazprom Neft. And those forces are safeguarding the infrastructure of Gazprom, critical infrastructure, which is pipelines, compressor stations, producing sites, and so on. And so there are people who can handle arms. And in view of the deficit of soldiers on the Ukrainian front, the government decided to use those people as volunteers. And already we see that some of the prisoners of war in Ukraine are members of those units.
So we already seem to have some evidence that this is something that is happening, that Gazprom employees as such are fighting on behalf of Russia.
Yes, and even some members of other so-called private armies, such as Mr. Prigozhin's army, they are complaining that the training and military qualities of those paramilitary personnel are not up to the mark. And sometimes they just retreat from the front lines, letting the Ukrainians attack. And, it seems that there is not enough cooperation between different forces on the front.
One of the questions that springs to mind here is, so Gazprom is state-owned, the army is state-run, so why does there need to be an additional, effectively state-owned military force fighting alongside the army?
Well, it is becoming more and more difficult for the regular army to get more conscripts through mobilization or the regular conscription. And, the government decided to employ the people who can handle arms and who are officially members of paramilitary units of state-controlled companies. This is the only reason for such urgent action, is the shortage of personnel on the front.
There are reports of these personnel that are working for Gazprom suggesting that they were told that they would be going to Ukraine to guard, as they're used to when working for Gazprom, to guard oil and gas assets, and they've ended up on the front line. Is there likely to be any truth in that?
Yes, I believe it is possible because Gazprom is handling some of the compressor stations and pipelines which are located within the occupied territories in Ukraine. And, formally, officially, they also need some people to guard that critical infrastructure, even though it has not been used for quite a long while. But it could be just a pretext. The people are sent to fight at the, where the regular army and some private armies, such as people from Chechnya or Prigozhin's private army, are already fighting.
Energy analyst Mikhail Krutikhin there.